Quran? The Bible, sorry. Bible. Enquiry of the name. I swear by the Almighty God
I swear by the Almighty God
that the evidence I shall give to this commission
that the evidence I shall give to this commission
shall be the truth,
shall be the truth,
the whole truth,
the whole truth,
and nothing
and nothing
but the truth.
but the truth.
So help me God.
So help me God.
You can wait for the instruction.
Could you kindly state your names?
My name is Laly Diab
L-A-L-Y.
Yes, please.
Could you spell the Ghanem as well?
Ghanem.
Where do you live?
I live in Fajara.
What work do you do?
I run my family business,
What is it called?
Emporium.
Could you kindly sit down,
Thank you.
Ms. Diab? Ghanem. You were summoned in connection to maintenance service agency premises at court to MSA,
Yes.
and you have provided a lot of documents actually to the investigators, which we have.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you prefer, because I will be applying to admit those documents, would you prefer that we admit yours or the ones you have provided?
I would prefer that because these are the only original sets I have.
All right. We probably would want to, certain documents, the originals of certain documents that you have, but I'll tell you which ones.
Okay, ma'am.
All right, as we go along.
Yes, ma'am.
But you have documents that you can refer to.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. How did you become involved with MSA?
I actually did not directly become involved with MSA. I was asked to launch UTSCO, and as a result, we were using, my first exposure to MSA actually, I never knew it existed, was when I was taken around to allocate a site for UTSCO. That was sometime in 2008, and I was shown the MSA facility, and we had chosen that facility because of the area available to park the buses and operate UTSCO from there.
All right, let's maybe just to put things in context. What is UTSO?
UTSCO is a bus and transport company. It was registered prior to my engagement, but I was the one who actually launched the buses.
You said you were asked
Yes, ma'am.
to manage UTSO, I believe that's what you said.
Yes, ma'am.
Who asked you?
The former head of state.
The ex-president Jammeh.
Yes, please.
All right. So UTSO, you're saying, was a bus, did you say a bus company?
A bus and transport company.
Bus and transport company.
Yes, ma'am.
And the UTSO itself, who are the shareholders?
May I refer to the documents?
Yes, certainly, please do.
According to the records I have access to, the shareholders are Kanilai Family Farms, KGI International, Sindola Safari Lodge, and Zainab Yahya Jammeh.
What documents are you referring to?
I'm referring to the memorandum and articles.
Association.
The memorandum of association, actually.
All right. So you said you were, I'll show you these documents, copies of which you have provided shortly for you to confirm that
Yes,
these are the
please.
same as the ones that you're referring to.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, you said you were approached and you went round, you were taken round,
Yes.
and you identified MSA.
Yes, I did not know prior to that anything about, in fact, I had never been to that area. I was taken to 2 locations as a choice to choose where it would be most appropriate to park the buses. And I was taken to GPTC first and then to MSA. And my recommendation was, because there was so much space available at MSA, it would be more appropriate to park the buses there. And there was for administration, there was a block that was not being used, and I felt it would be the place the admin could be set up. But I was not familiar at all with that area before. That was my first visit.
So when you identified, or MSA, what happened next?
I went back and I reported to the former head of state, and then and he asked
The former president?
Yes, please.
Yes.
And he asked me to go ahead and discuss with the manager then if they would allow us to use that block and the place to park the buses. And if I recall correctly, there was no problem.
You have provided a copy of the letter that you wrote to the ex-president in this regard?
I think
Is that the letter dated 19 June 2008?
19 June, yes.
You wrote to him.
I had written back a briefing after that, yes, what it would entail. I have it right here. Yes, ma'am.
All right. What buses? You said it was a bus and transport company. Had you seen the buses at that time?
At that time, no, ma'am. I didn't see the
When
buses.
did you see the buses?
I saw them 1st of July.
2000?
The
What year?
2008, yes. Let me refer to my records. Yes, in July 2008, ma'am.
They were handed over to you at some stage?
Yes, I hadn't seen the buses, but the day they were supposed to be handed to me, I was informed to go to State House and to receive the buses, and I arranged a handing over note when I received them.
Where were they handed over to you?
I received 31 Bluebird buses, 4 Hyundai minibuses, and 4 Chevrolet vans.
Were these new?
Brand new, as far as I was concerned. I did not check the mileage, but they looked new to me.
Do you know the origin of these buses? Did you know?
No, ma'am.
Who was at the handing over?
It was the commander of State Guard and the drivers that went with me to collect the buses.
What is the name of this commander?
His name was Lieutenant Colonel Jai.
In what capacity were you asked to manage this company?
This is not a typical situation. I did not have an employment contract as such. This was a verbal request, and I was told to try to manage it. But considering I was already running my family business, I technically hired managers and hired people to do it, and I was overseeing it. But there was no technical job description or contract written.
In relation to the company, how would you describe yourself?
I would describe myself as the manager because at one point I had to leave for maternity leave. I handed over to somebody else, and then when I came back, I received the letter that I should manage the place. But I was not based there. I hired people to run the operation, and I met with them on a regular basis.
Do you have a copy of that letter that you received?
That was After my maternity leave,
Yes.
I will have to
Look for it.
revert to it and get it for you. Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to show you these documents that relate to UTSC, the memorandum and articles and so on, which you provided.
Yes, ma'am.
Just confirm that these are the documents and what documents these are, then I'll apply to have them admitted. Can you tell, for the record, tell us what that bundle consists of?
Okay. I had labeled this as bundle number 1.
Yes.
It consists of a letter dated 19th of June, basically giving a summary of the initiation of UTSCO and my directives to operate. It consists of the handing over notes of the fleet of vehicles. It consists of the certificate of incorporation in early 2008. It consists of the memorandum and articles of association. It consists of the business registration. And then it also consists of the tax clearance certificate, the application of business registration, income tax payment, GRA domestic tax for business registration, the stamp duty. It also consists of a GRA clearance certificate in 2010, and a renewal of the business registration in 2010, a GRA payment also up to 2010, and this is another payment, and a social security clearance, ma'am.
Now, why up to 2010 with regard to the clearances that you have?
The reason I attached the 2010 is because we made sure we were in full compliance in 2010. I was registering Sindola Safari Lodge, and I had recommended that we check that all the companies were in compliance. So as a result, we also made sure that UTSCO was up to date up to that point.
You continue to be responsible, let me use that term, for GTS, for this company, UTSCO, until when, CO?
I think, let me just refer to the date. Until 26th of July 2012, ma'am.
2012.
Yes, please.
So what happened in 2012?
I received a letter from Office of the President asking me to suspend the operations and to hand over to Commander Sane.
Commander Sanya?
Sane.
Sane.
Yes, please.
That letter is not among the documents that you have provided?
Not in this bundle, ma'am.
All right. All right. Okay, I will just put this down, so we will apply in due course to have it registered. Now, at some point, the MSA headquarters was handed over to you.
Yes,
is that
ma'am.
correct?
That is correct, ma'am.
And also, UTSCO acquired MSA.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell us about the acquisition by UTSCO of MSA premises?
Yes. Later in 2008, I was instructed by the former president to represent him in the negotiations of the purchase of the MSA property and assets.
He was the one purchasing.
It was UTSCO on behalf of UTSCO, but he gave me the instructions.
Okay. So UTSCO was the one that approached the government to purchase MSA?
Yes, I represented UTSCO, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, tell us what happened. Where did you go and how was the sale conducted?
Okay, at the time I got an indication of the reserve price and my briefing from the former head of state, and then I was given an appointment, and I went with my operations manager at UTSCO. We went together.
Where?
To Ministry of Finance.
Okay.
And at Ministry of Finance, we started the negotiations.
Who was Minister of Finance at the time? Do you recollect?
I do not recollect, ma'am.
Who did you meet with?
I do not recollect the names because I did not have a personal relationship with anybody there. This was impromptu. But I remember there was the permanent secretary, Ministry of Finance. I remember there was a representative from GDA and a representative from Justice Department. Those are the three I recollect, ma'am.
Okay. How did you know that MSA premises was up for sale?
Through the former head of state, ma'am.
So there was nothing like an advertisement or anything like that?
I was not aware of it. That was the first time I was informed.
All right. Okay, so you went to the meeting at the Ministry of Finance?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
And
What?
we agreed. And I do not recollect whether it was one meeting or more than one meeting, but it had to be more than one because they had to draft an agreement of sale. And then we agreed on payment terms to the best of my recollection.
All right. How much was the agreed price?
$1.3 million.
Who and how was it paid?
I was instructed to make a payment plan, and I did so accordingly. My instruction was to have it every 3 months. So I arranged for that, and they were in agreement. And if I recall properly, the cash was sent to me upon when the payments were due to submit to GDA.
So the payments were in cash?
My memory fails me, but I know at least a few of them were cash because I had sent my assistant to the central bank to deposit it there. But in my records, I realized there was one which was a bank check from Access Bank, but that could have been because we were banking with Access Bank and we deposited the funds there.
By we, you mean
UTSCO, yes, ma'am. But we had paid all the payments via the central bank and GDA.
By the central bank, into the central bank?
Yes, ma'am.
Divestiture account at the central
If
bank.
I remember correctly, I would send my assistant, she would pick up somebody from GDA, they would go to the central bank, then she brings back the deposit to them and they would issue a receipt or confirmation.
Now, you didn't provide the sale agreement?
Yes, that is correct.
Why
I
is
do
that?
not have it with me.
You didn't
I
have it
could
with-
not find it, which I found very odd for that matter. I could not find it in any of my files, but I would like to highlight that the only reason I have these files with me, these were reports I was sending to the former head of state. I was not allowed to keep any file that belonged to UTSCO upon handing over.
You were not allowed?
No.
What do you mean by that?
When Commander Sane came to the site, he sealed the site and said we cannot remove any document from there.
This was in 2012.
Yes. So what I have with me are the reports I used to send to the former head of state.
All right. In the folder that you called number 2,
Yes, ma'am.
there is a photocopy of handwritten document which seems to say statement of witness. It's very faded. I've not been able to read it. What is that about?
When we paid all the 4 installments, we requested for the lease from GDA, and then we were waiting for it to be processed, and then at one point I was asked about the lease, and I said that we have not received it yet, and then we were all called to the police the next day, and so we all gave a statement as to whether we had paid and what happened. That is what is written on the statement, and ultimately we all went to court to testify.
Who went to court? Who was charged?
Myself and my assistant, who was physically taking the payments to the central bank. Those 2 statements are myself and my assistant, and I believe the CEO of GDA.
Was anyone charged?
I don't know, because after I testified in court, I never asked and I never went there again. But ultimately, GDA gave us the lease.
No, what I want to know, when you go to court to testify,
Yes,
it has
ma'am.
to be in a case.
Yes.
Because this is a statement of witness, it looks like it was not a civil case. Was there a criminal case and someone was charged?
I'm not sure, because all I can recall is we both went to the police, we gave statements, and we went to the magistrate court next to the police station, and we were called into the box, we gave statements. So I did not pursue that matter. My concern at that point was that we get the lease.
Okay. Now, as I said, the witness statement is very faded. Do you
Yes.
have a better copy?
No,
You
ma'am.
provided it.
No,
This
I
is what
don't.
you have.
Yes.
What was the name of the case? Because we can't read it, so
I cannot remember. I remember the judge was Justice Enquiry, but I don't remember anything else.
all right. Now, after you got the lease,
Yes, ma'am.
it was assigned to you, to UTSC?
UTSCO.
Yes. I see you have a letter that was written to my firm by Gambia Divestiture Agency.
Can I please ask you to say that again, ma'am? Which
Yes.
letter?
A letter written to my firm, or to myself, I think. I mean,
Okay.
considered by GD.
Okay,
Yes,
I
GDA.
don't think that was from me. I think that was from GDA.
It was from GDA.
Yes, I think that was with reference to getting the lease processed.
Yes.
Yes.
They actually instructed that I prepare a deed of assignment lease document.
Yes.
Yes, transfer of title deed.
Yes, yes.
But the assignment that you have provided doesn't show who prepared it, because I believe my office prepared it.
Okay.
Do you have a better copy?
No, ma'am. I have, in fact, what I have are photocopies, and this would have been what I sent in my report.
Okay.
I would not have access to any of these original documents because they were submitted to the former head of state. So I always made copies for myself of what I sent in my reports.
But the original lease was handed over to you?
Yes, I believe so. I would
and what-
I don't recall, but if I have a copy, it means it was submitted to me and I submitted it to His Excellency. Actually, if you refer, ma'am, to a letter dated 24th December 2009 in the back of the package.
December 2009.
Yes, I have written notes here. I'm not sure if they appear in your copy that I delivered to
Is a
CEO.
letter written to the managing director UTSC from GDA?
No, this is to His Excellency, the former president. It's the last letter on the package.
Can you give the witness the document?
This is it, ma'am.
Yes.
It is a letter I had written on December 24, 2009 to the former president, and I've written in my notes it was delivered to State House on 24th of December 2009. And I say, please find enclosed the following documents: deed of assignment, the lease, handing over letter from GDA, and copy of receipt from GRA for first installment of stamp duty. So I did submit everything to the former head of state.
Okay. Let me just flag a letter. Can I have the documents back? Let me just ask you one question. When you went to finance to negotiate the sale of this property,
Yes, ma'am.
did the GDA and people at the Ministry of Finance know that this, the company, UTSC, was owned by the shareholders that you mentioned, Kanilai Family Farms, KGI, and the ex-president's wife?
I do not believe so, because personally, I was only aware of that in 2010 when I asked that we regularize everything up to date. That's when I had access to the memorandum. But I do not believe, because it was not discussed there. And neither did I know at the time personally who owned the company, because I did not participate in the registration of the company.
But surely when the president himself asked you to manage this company, you must have had some indication of his...
My impression was it was owned by him, ma'am. My personal impression.
Well,
But I never asked, because it was not, the information was not disclosed at the time. But when we tried to put everything in order, of course I had to see all the documents.
I asked you this question, Ms. Diab Testifies, because some of your letters to Gambia Divestiture Agency was copied to H.E. Sheikh, Dr. Alhaji A.J.J. Jammeh.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So you purchased, or UTSCO, purchased, you said, the premises for $1.3 million.
Yes, ma'am.
And then tell us about what happened after, your connection to these tractors, these Mahindra tractors in particular.
When we purchased the MSA, the tractors were already on the site. So there was a handing over process, and I hired a consultant to execute a thorough handing over process. The tractors were the first items that were handed over to us, including all the facilities.
Right. There's quite a significant bundle here, so I'll just give them to you with a handwritten note addressed to His Excellency. I'll just ask you to read the